Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Final Whistle. Kevin Walsh, David Giacomino. You see this shirt my man's got on. He went out to his local Modell's around midnight last night to pick it up. With this, what this means, Mets have done it. They've gotten themselves to the World Series, a clean sweep of the Chicago Cubs. And they are now going to be facing off with either the Royals or the Blue Jays. Royals tonight could close it out and set the World Series matchup. You told me that would then take place on a Tuesday, so a long way away. The World Series is that's a real, that's a real big rest. I don't really, understand why they have to do so many days, but you know what? I mean, it is what it is. If the Mets had, if that series had gone 7, then it would have made a lot more sense. Whatever. They swept. First thing that needs to be spoken about is the GOAT, as they're calling him. 6 consecutive games with a home run, his 7th of this postseason. Daniel Murphy does it again. Now, here's the real question. Do you think Daniel Murphy will continue to contribute in the World Series? I'm not saying is he going to continue to hit a home run every game, but will he continue to contribute and be a valuable bat up there?
Well, they have been saying that the rest he's been getting, for the games, because they have a lot of off days in between the playoffs, they said it's really helped him. So I don't know if this rest is going to get him out of rhythm or it's going to help him yet again. That remains to be seen, but I have to think he's going to fall off just a little bit. It's hard to believe he's going to hit a home run in each of the games again. Mm-hmm. But he might fall out of rhythm just a little bit from not seeing live pitching and live games. So you can only do so many batting practice sessions and practices. I have to think he'll keep it up just a little bit because he's on such a roll and his confidence is at sky high. So I think he's going to keep it up just a little bit. To the same length, I have to say no.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things people will say about baseball is an average is an average for a reason. At the end of the day, everything finds a way to balance itself out. You can hit 500 for a month, but next month, don't worry, you're gonna hit 200. That's how a lot of players work out now. Postseasons are much shorter, and he couldn't be hotter. I really wouldn't be surprised if Murphy doesn't homer again. I wouldn't even be shocked if he struggles in the postseason. Being completely honest. The rest of the way, I mean, the World Series and everything. Here's the big thing, though, for the Mets. It's unfortunate, again, I think that they're going to have this much rest. The fact that Lucas Duda had a day and a half on that closing game is big. Because everyone knows Lucas Duda is comparable to, one of those NBA players that you can put in for a 15-minute stretch, and if he's hot, and leave him, maybe like a J.R. Smith type of feel to it, where a lot of times you're like, oh, my goodness. Lucas Duda, can you please take the bat out of your hands and just stop?
I'll tell you what. You got to give all the credit in the world to Terry Collins. He could have very well sat him in any of the last 2 games of the series. People were calling for his head. Get Lucas Duda out of there. He looks horrible. Terry Collins said, no, this is my guy. He's been our first baseman all year. I'm not going to go to my bench now. I'm keeping him in there. He knew he was going to find his way sooner or later. Yesterday he had the postseason or the game of his life, and he had 5 RBIs in the first 2 innings. He found it. He did what he was supposed to do. What a game he had.
I think it was a home run and 2 doubles.
Yeah.
This is the thing too, though, that why the Mets had that luxury is because they were up. Well, they hadn't lost in the series yet. In all honesty, different scenario. If say the Mets slipped one at home, or even if they lost Game 3. He might have not been able to have that type of long leash that he had on Lucas Duda, and he might have really had to, suck it up and say, you know what, I can't throw him.
He also didn't have the best options to go to on the bench because nobody on that bench has been playing well.
You could go Kadire though. You have to shake it up. I mean, you have to at that point, but he did not have to because of the way that the Mets have been doing. I mean, they've won now 5 straight games this postseason. Including the series clincher against the Dodgers. They're as hot as they're the hottest team, obviously, in the postseason when you just think about that. What do you think is I mean, how is this team going to win, though? Because to me, a lot of people say, the Mets will live and die by their pitching and they can rely on their pitching. I don't think that's it, actually. The Mets are such a team where I think that it doesn't matter if DeGrom goes out there and throws a beautiful 8 innings. if the Mets aren't hitting, he always gives up. Like he'll give up just 2 runs, which is a great performance. 8 innings, 4 hit baseball, 2 runs, and you say what a job. And if the Mets aren't hitting, that's a loss. Where right now, what, he won't even give up 2 runs, but the Mets throw 4 up on the scoreboard. It's kind of like they're always playing off one another in a way, and that their pitching will be consistent, but that pitching can only go as far as their hitting will allow them. And right now, their hitting has allowed them to make it to the World Series.
I'll tell you one thing that has been huge this whole postseason. The Mets have done a good job of scoring early, and scoring early gives
very true
a lot of confidence to the pitchers. Like yesterday, you have 4 runs in the first inning. Steven Matz goes out. Okay, he's so much more relaxed than he would have been. Jacob deGrom, they score in the first inning. He's 10 times more relaxed. Now he's been in that situation obviously, but he's so much more relaxed. You're able to, let's say you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. No, you're so much more free when you're pitching like that. You can't pitch tight like that. And the Cubs pitchers were. Every time they let up a run, oh no. The Mets pitching is so dominant, I can't let up another run. You can't pitch like that. You have to be free, and that's how the Mets pitching has been all postseason. The Mets have scored early, and it's really helped them out.
And it came out the Mets joined the Tigers team from a couple years ago to be the only teams in the in an AL in a LCS series, so AL or NL obviously, to not be losing at any point in the series. At no point were they
phenomenal,
losing.
And that just shows their pitching. That pitching has been outstanding.
But it's also the like you said though, the offense getting out to early leads, first inning scores. That is such a big deal. Last night, we were both talking during the game, as we do during all these games. They get the 4 runs, and I mean we both it's done. It's done. Matz is not gonna implode. He's not gonna implode.
I'll tell you one thing. Were you surprised by the quick leash on Matz? Collins was awfully quick.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, he was awfully quick to take him out.
I think it was Terry kind of saying, "Hey, listen, no chances here. Let me go to Bartolo. Trust Bartolo a lot. Been great for us." Didn't like it though. Realistically, I don't know how you could be very confident in Steven Matz throwing in the World Series, because the game you lost at Citi Field. I mean, I know it was an inning, but he didn't impress. And I people are like, oh, he only gave a run. He pitched 4 2/3. 4 2/3. He didn't even pitch 5. You have to throw 5 to get a win.
I'm more skeptical because look, he went through the whole first time through the order and he didn't let up a hit.
Right.
So he was pitching well. He was a little wild and he was throwing a lot of pitches. They were fouling off a lot of pitches to get his pitch count up. He was doing well. Terry Collins was being very,
he was very they were very cautious. The Mets last night.
I would have given him at least one more batter because he should have been out of the inning with Murphy missing the ball because his defense is awful, as we all know. And I would have given him at least one more batter to try and get out of it.
Yeah. Now, there are 2 more points I want to touch on. A solely Mets point. Cespedes, level meter of concern, 1 to 10.
They said it's a shoulder injury. How he did it, who knows? He was golfing earlier in the day. They said they claim he was doing push-ups and he hurt his shoulder doing push-ups. I don't know. It will help them that they have a couple off days. So he said he's going to play no matter what. It also does help them that the first 2 games are in Kansas City. So if you have to, he can DH. So that they do have that luxury. So I'm not all too concerned unless something like comes up as a torn shoulder or something like that. So I'm not too concerned about it.
I would if I had to put it on a 1 to 10, I'd put it at a 3. And the only reason it's that high is because it's Cespedes. That's the only reason it's that high. Just because he needs to be there. I don't care if Cespedes strikes out every single at bat. He's making a difference in that lineup.
And he was quoted yesterday saying, "I will be ready for the World Series. I'll cut my arm off and get a new one if I have to. I'll be ready."
Yeah. Now the final question I wanted to ask you, and you kind of alluded it to right there in your last point, the DH. It is a big deal for both teams. I'll be honest. I'm pretty confident in the fact that I think that it's going to be the Mets Royals. That's kind of how I'm going to address it. Because I think that for the Royals it is a big deal. The Royals have Kendrys Morales, who has been, I believe, their best hitter in the postseason so far. He's been one of the best hitters in the postseason so far. I mean, he maybe could be the second best hitter behind, obviously, Daniel Murphy. But he's a DH. Now, I'm not sure how amazing his fielding is, but I believe he's a natural first baseman outside of the DH. So you throw him at first. Well, obviously, Eric Hosmer needs to play. I think Hos could go to the outfield, but you're kind of throwing the team off a little bit there. And obviously, games played at Citi Field. Johnny Cueto obviously did come from the NL. At least you have that. Edison Volquez did go, used to throw for Pittsburgh. But realistically, one thing the Mets are actually known for is the fact that their pitchers can kind of hit. So that definitely is a favor to them. I would have to say, I do think obviously the Royals will have to sort it out. But I think that becomes a huge advantage, Mets, if they feel that they can't trust Morales' glove. Right there, you're taking out one of their best players.
Yeah, and if they do what you said and kind of throw Morales in the field, he hasn't done that all year.
Right.
He is a first baseman. He has played the position, but he hasn't done it all year. Hosmer hasn't gone in the outfield often all year. So it's kind of putting them in an uncomfortable position, something they're not used to, and that could hurt them,
And that's the thing too, is they might not. They might say, you know what, Kendricks is ready. He's definitely pinch hitting for us because we're gonna have to pull our pitchers at some point. Alex Rios, who's been playing out there, has been good. And you know what? It's. I don't want to throw. They might say I don't want to throw it off. I don't want to take any chances here.
That would help the Mets out because, like you said, that's taking out one of their best hitters out of the lineup. And
the big thing for Kansas City being, and again, this is assuming they get there with their series lead right now, and there's still the 2 more games in Kansas City. It's a benefit for them to have those first 2 games there, to where they can really assess their situation. I mean, they're down. They're down 0-2. All right, I need Kendricks in the lineup. They're up 2-0. You know what? Let's not force it today. If we feel like we need it tomorrow, we'll go for it. And I think that's a good situation for the Mets. How do you think that they address the DH situation, bearing a completely healthy Yoenis Cespedes?
If I had to guess, it'd probably be either Michael Gadire or maybe Juan Nagaris in center field just to get a good defensive lineup out there, and then you
DH Conforto,
yeah,
something like that.
Something like that.
Any chances of DHing Murphy? Is there someone else that could come in and play short or second? I know Flores could play second, but I don't know.
If you want to put Kelly Johnson maybe at second, but I don't think they're going to take Murphy out of the field. He's just too amped up.
You need him out there. I feel for him.
He's a
half inning.
He's a leader. He's been one of their hottest guys. His fielding is lacking, but he's been one of their leaders. He needs to be on the field at all times because you even see if one of the pitchers is ever struggling, one of the relief guys is ever struggling, he's one of the guys that goes to the mound and says, "Let's go. Let's get it together. Let's get this going." Yeah.
Well, a lot of good things. Congratulations to the New York Mets, their loyal fan base who have been waiting for this for a long time. They're there. They're just going to be waiting on an opponent. And, of course, we will be breaking down everything leading up to that World Series. We're going to be waiting to see who their opponent is. So stay with us. WICR, Final Whistle, Kevin Walsh, David Giacomino. We'll see you guys next time.